抜き出せ。お前たちはさ、お前たちの前じゃ。ドロロ。Welcome back to the journey of Hyakimaru and Dorroro to reclaim Hyakimaru's lost senses. The thief Dorroro was actually born as a girl, but had lived as a boy for as long as she could remember. This could be due to her parents who raised her as a male instead of a female since birth. Dorroro refuses to speak or dress femininely. Hyakimaru continues his search for demons while Dorroro tries to convince him to visit an onsen. Later, Dorroro encounters a woman called Okaka, who looks like her mother, near Hakumen Fudo, a faceless Buddha statue at a waterfall. Okaka, who tells the story of a sculptor who carved the Buddha statue but died before completing the face. As Dorroro falls into a drugged sleep, Okaka finishes the story of how a demon inhabited the statue, but wanted a face. It revived the sculptor as Okaka, with the ability to change her appearance and voice, to bring human offerings so it could take their faces. Okaka drags Hyakimaru to the waterfall, but he revives and starts to fight Hakumen Fudo. Okaka uses the demon's power to immobilize Hyakimaru, but Dorroro implores her to spare him. Okaka's heart is softened by Dororo's pleas, and she allows herself to be wounded by Hakumen Fudo's sword, giving Hyakimaru the opportunity to attack and destroy the demon statue, and Okaka disintegrates. Later, Hyakimaru and Dorroro visit an onsen where they encounter the Biwahoshi and other children who see a map that appears on Dororo's back. Nui no Kata is shown to have survived her suicide attempt, but Tahomaru has been blinded in his right eye. In a flashback, Dororo's father, the bandit Hibukuro, drew a part of a map of the location to his hidden money onto the back of his wife, Ojiya, and the rest on Dororo's back, so they could retrieve it together later. Dorroro memorized the map on her mother's back before she died. In the present, the Biwahoshi and Hyakimaru realize the map appears when Dororo's back heats up, which the Biwahoshi says gives her some choices in life. Hyakimaru continues his search for demons, unconcerned even when a huge baby-like monster grabs Dorroro. They arrive at a burned-out temple, and the monster disappears as they encounter Sabame, the lord of the land, carrying a flower offering to the spirit who inhabits the site. He invites them to stay at his home, where he says the temple housed a nunnery that exploited children before it was struck by lightning and destroyed, killing everyone inside. That night, the travelers are attacked by a caterpillar-like monster, but when Hyakimaru wounds it, a huge moth-like demon, Mamai Onba, appears and carries it away. The moth lands near Sabame and transforms into a white-haired woman. After she tells Sabame the food he provided for her children was too strong, he consoles her and promises to protect her and her children. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What is your favorite Goku transformation? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. Dorroro visits Sabame's prosperous village, where everyone seems happy. She finds a rice storehouse deep in the forest, but is pushed into the basement by the villagers. It is filled with the caterpillar monsters, which menace Dorroro, but the baby monster returns to save her. The monster bursts open, releasing the spirits of the children from the temple, which Sabame and the villagers had fed to Mamai Onba after burning it down. Outside the village, Sabame tells Hyakimaru how he accepted the Mamai Onba, who fed on marauding samurai and beasts to protect the village, and then took her as his wife. The Mamai Onba moths emerge from their chrysalides and attack Hyakimaru, who fiercely fights back. However, the last one destroys Hyakimaru's prosthetic leg and then sacrifices itself to set fire to the village. Meanwhile, Dororo burns down the storehouse, destroying the caterpillars and the village's rice supplies, causing the villagers to fight amongst themselves over the remaining food. Hyakimaru finds and kills the original Mamai Onba, which returns his spinal column to him. He and Dororo walk back through Sabame's burned-down village, where many villagers lie dead, including Sabame. Dororo wonders if they did the right thing, but Hyakimaru states his only concern is killing demons. Dororo and Hyakimaru walk separate ways, but Itachi and his men find Dororo. Itachi has half of the map from Ojiya's back and demands to see Dororo's half. Dororo denies knowledge of a map, but Itachi and his men take her with them, believing she has memorized it. They travel for days, following Ojiya's half of the map, which Itachi discovered after he dug up her body. They arrive at Cape Hakotsu, where the treasure is located, but can't reach it without a boat. After failing to find boats at a nearby village, which they believe was destroyed by bandits, they meet Shiranui, a one-armed youth who offers to take them across. They board 2 boats pulled by huge sharks, Jiromaru and Subaromaru. Midway across, Shiranui reveals he fed his arms to the sharks. However, they developed a taste for human flesh, so he then killed the villagers to feed them. On his signal, the sharks capsize one of the boats and devour the men on board. Not wanting them to gorge themselves, he leaves Subaromaru to watch the second boat until they come back later to eat. Disheartened, Itachi recounts how he and his men were exploited by his lord. Dororo berates them for giving up and jumps in the water as bait to lure Subaromaru. On her signal, they pull her up, and when the shark surfaces, they stab and kill it. They then paddle ashore at Cape Hakotsu. When Shiranui comes ashore to investigate, he is savagely beaten by the bandits. Itachi strips Dororo's clothes looking for the map and realizes Dororo is a girl, while the heat of the fire reveals the map on her back. With the completed map, they tie up Dororo and leave, while Shiranui vows revenge. Elsewhere, as Hyakimaru struggles to walk, he passes a monk who tells him of a man nearby who can give him a new leg, Jukai. Jukai is adding limbs to the dead on a battlefield when a ghoul attacks, but Hyakimaru appears and kills it. Back in his cave, Jukai is horrified when Hyakimaru explains what his father did to him. Jukai realizes that although Hyakimaru's body has become more human, he is less human on the inside. He is reluctant to repair Hyakimaru's leg as he fears that it will lead to more fighting, and if Hyakimaru is to be successful against the demons, he will have to confront his own family. Suddenly, a landslide blocks the entrance to the cave. While Hyakimaru digs his way out, he reveals he is not alone as he remembers Dororo. Emerging from the cave, they find the fruit of a nearby Ayakashigi demon tree is producing more ghouls. Hyakimaru slays them all until he eventually pierces the tree's heart and destroys it. At the Daigo compound, Nui no Kata recovers from her suicide attempt, but Tahomaru leaves to kill a reported ghoul without visiting her. He and his aides find and wound a rat-like ghoul. Tahomaru then burns the building to kill both the ghoul and its progeny, who are still alive inside, pledging his sword to defend Daigo's land. When they return, Kagemitsu sends Tahomaru and a small army to kill Hyakimaru. Meanwhile, Hyakimaru rows a small boat towards Cape Hakotsu. Shiranui calls on the giant shark Jiromaru to eat Subarumaru's body, and it evolves into a demon capable of moving onto land. It attacks Dororo, but she is saved by Hyakimaru, who slays the demon. Hyakimaru's left leg is restored. Meanwhile, Itachi finds a cave and 2 of his men rush in, but are killed by booby-trapped explosives. Tahomaru and a fleet land on the shore in pursuit of Hyakimaru, and Tahomaru gives orders to leave no one alive. Several of Itachi's remaining men fall to arrows, and Dororo and Hyakimaru come across a wounded Itachi. Hyakimaru is attacked by Tahomaru, Mutsu, and Hyogo, so Itachi grabs Dororo and flees more arrows. High above, Shiranui detonates the booby-trap bombs he removed in an attempt to kill everyone, killing himself and causing a landslide. Many of Tahomaru's men are killed, and Hyogo is badly wounded, so they decide to withdraw, assuming Hyakimaru is dead. Meanwhile, Dororo and the mortally wounded Itachi fall into a cave created by the explosion and discover the treasure. Itachi dies after seeing it. Hyakimaru finds Dorroro, who decides to leave the treasure hidden until she decides what to do with it. What will our dynamic duo do next? Find out in our next recap of Dorroro.